Hello. Do you often think that the fierce gods of the jungle like tigers, leopards, or lions are the most terrifying killers on the planet? If so, you are completely wrong. In reality, there are animals that look extremely mindless or even as gentle as a lump of earth, but are capable of sending hundreds of thousands of people to their graves every year without any warning. Today, let's uncover the true faces of the 10 dangerous creatures you would never expect.
The silent killer, mosquito.
The creature at the top of this list is not a lion, shark, venomous snake, or any other giant predator, but the mosquito. A creature so small that humans often kill it with just a clap of their hands, without fear or caution, and even despise it. However, according to World Health Organization statistics, every year on Earth, over 700,000 people die not from war, not from natural disasters, but from mosquito-borne diseases such as malaria, dengue fever, Zika, and yellow fever. The mosquito does not kill with fangs. It needs no venom, and it needs no strength. All it needs is a very light bite, unintentionally carrying pathogens from one person to another. The most terrifying thing about the mosquito is that it does not hunt humans, it has no malice, and it doesn't know who it is killing. The mosquito is simply following its survival instinct, and that very apathy makes it the most effective killer in human history. The mosquito does not attack when humans are ready. It chooses the weakest moment, in the dark, during sleep, when the body is relaxed, and when the conscious mind is no longer alert. With no warning signs, many people do not die immediately. They get a fever, fatigue, and headaches. They think it is just a common flu, and a few days of rest will make it fine, until their bodies begin to experience multiple organ failure. The saddest part is that humans can completely prevent mosquitoes without high technology, advanced weapons, or complex solutions. Just clearing stagnant water, just a thin mosquito net while sleeping, and especially not underestimating a creature so small.
The Antarctic assassin, leopard seal.
Leopard seals often appear with a rather bewildered face, large round eyes, a smooth, shiny head, and an almost harmless expression, even somewhat curious when looking at humans. But behind that appearance is a body nearly 3 meters long, flexible and powerful, and most importantly, a jaw full of sharp teeth, born not to intimidate, but to tear flesh. For penguins, the leopard seal is not just a predator. It is a death sentence hanging beneath the water, a shadow always waiting at the edge of the ice where penguins must dive down to forage. The leopard seal does not chase frantically. It does not rush. It approaches in silence. And once it has grabbed its prey, it violently shakes its head over and over until bones break and flesh tears apart in chunks. Everything happens so fast that the prey has almost no time to comprehend what just happened. What makes humans truly start to fear the leopard seal is when the boundary between observing and becoming prey is blurred. A British scientist, while conducting research off the coast of Antarctica, was attacked by a leopard seal. The victim was dragged straight down into the water and died with 45 bite wounds on her body. A cold reminder that in this environment, humans are not always outside the food chain. In the Antarctic world, the leopard seal has almost no natural enemies except for killer whales and humans. But unlike the mosquito, which kills with disease, through slowness and invisibility, the leopard seal kills with pure strength. One side is a slow, silent, and noiseless death. The other is a fast, direct death that gives no chance to correct mistakes.
The invisible assassin, box jellyfish.
Box jellyfish do not have teeth or claws. They do not chase or actively attack, but each of its long tentacles is covered with millions of microscopic stinging cells. Each cell is a microinjector containing extremely potent venom that directly affects the human nervous system, cardiovascular system, and skin. With just a very light touch, sometimes just an accidental brush, the pain instantly flares up intensely, as if the body were electrocuted simultaneously at hundreds of points. Many victims describe that feeling as even worse than severe burns. In panic and agony, many people faint right in the water, and upon losing consciousness, they drown before they can cry for help. In more severe cases, the box jellyfish's toxin can cause the heart to stop beating in just a few minutes. No large wounds or blood loss are needed, just a chain of biological reactions happening too fast for the body to defend against. The most terrifying thing lies here. The box jellyfish absolutely does not hunt humans. Accidents happen randomly, usually when people are swimming, diving, or simply playing in the sea in a feeling of absolute safety. In many tropical waters such as Australia and Southeast Asia, the box jellyfish is not considered a dangerous animal in the usual sense, but is called by a much colder name, the invisible assassin of the ocean.
The giant's wrath, elephant.
Elephants are one of the most intelligent animals on Earth. They have long-term memory, can recognize faces, can distinguish friend from foe, know how to grieve when losing a companion, and most importantly, they know how to get angry. That very intelligence makes elephants particularly dangerous when pushed beyond their limits of endurance, because this is not a blind, instinctive reflex, but a conscious reaction. The most dangerous are male elephants during musth, a period of violent hormonal explosion. At that time, testosterone levels soar, behavior becomes aggressive and out of control, and every movement around them can be considered a threat to be eliminated. Or other solitary elephants separated from their herds, losing their habitat due to deforestation, chased away from familiar territories, wandering among human villages, fields, and roads, where they do not belong and are not welcome. In India, over 100 people are trampled to death by elephants every year. Worldwide, this number is estimated to reach about 500 people annually. Not because elephants hunt humans or are hungry, but because when a creature weighing 5 to 6 tons loses control, just one stomp, one ram, or one direct charge is enough to turn everything in front of it into flat ground in a few short seconds. Elephants are not monsters. They were not born to kill. But when high intelligence is coupled with gigantic size, traumatic memories, and rage pent up for too long, the consequences created are incredibly horrific. And that is what makes the elephant one of the most unpredictable threats humans have ever faced. Not because they don't understand, but because they understand too well. The Black Death, African buffalo. Completely different from the image of the gentle, slow, and resigned domestic water buffalo, the African buffalo is the embodiment of aggression, endurance, extreme unpredictability, and near fearlessness. An adult buffalo can weigh nearly a ton, with a massive body, thick neck, broad shoulders, and on its head is a pair of fused, curved horns firmly attached to its skull like a steel helmet. But the most dangerous thing does not lie in that physical strength, but in its temperament. The buffalo does not have a flight reflex when facing danger. On the contrary, in many cases, they choose to turn back and counterattack. No probing or warning, just charging straight ahead. Even lions, the apex predators of the African savanna, have paid a heavy price many times when mistakenly choosing a buffalo as a target. There are lions pierced through the stomach, some trampled to death, and prides of lions forced to flee when the whole herd of buffalo turns back to counterattack. With humans, things are even worse. Buffalo have very good memories. They can remember the one who hurt them, remember the scent, remember the appearance, and are ready to return for revenge hours, even days later if they have the chance. In Africa, the number of people killed by buffalo attacks every year is even higher than the number of deaths caused by lions, a truth that surprises many people. Because when the herd protection instinct is triggered and pushed to extreme levels, everything in front of it, whether humans, vehicles, or predators, can become a target that must be eliminated. The African buffalo is not a villain. It is simply a creature that never backs down. And in nature, sometimes that very refusal to back down is the most dangerous thing. The parasite carrier. Freshwater snail. A name that even sounds harmless. They look slow, tiny, quietly crawling on rocks and mud in ponds, lakes, and canals that humans interact with every day. Almost no one notices its existence, but every year, this snail indirectly causes the deaths of over 200,000 people worldwide. Not by their bite or venom, but by parasites. Freshwater snails are the intermediate hosts for schistosomiasis, one of the most dangerous and persistent parasitic diseases known to humanity. A disease that does not cause immediate fear, but destroys the body from within in a slow and cruel manner. When people bathe, wash clothes, or simply wade into water sources containing infected snails, the parasite larvae fall from the snail's body and swim freely in the water. They pierce straight through human skin without causing any pain, itching, wounds, or any warning signs. From there, they enter the bloodstream, travel throughout the body, and silently settle in the liver, intestines, bladder, or other internal organs. Victims do not die right away. They weaken over time. Abnormally swollen bellies, anemia, chronic pain, the body wasting away little by little over many months, even years. And throughout that time, many people still do not understand what is happening to themselves. The most terrifying thing lies here. Many victims do not even know they have been infected, do not remember any dangerous moment, and have no memory of being attacked. It's just a river bath, doing laundry, or wading in seemingly harmless water. But if humans just mistakenly step into a seemingly safe body of water, the countdown to death has already begun from that very moment. The river nightmare, hippopotamus. In cartoons and children's stories, hippos often appear short, chubby, slow-moving, and somewhat adorable, a large but gentle and harmless creature. But in real life, that image is completely wrong. The hippo is the most dangerous mammal in Africa in terms of the number of human fatalities each year. An adult hippo can weigh from 1.5 to 3 tons. Its mouth can open nearly 180 degrees, revealing canine teeth up to 70 centimeters long. The bite force reaches about 3 tons, strong enough to break a wooden boat and sharp enough to bite an adult crocodile in half. However, the scariest thing about the hippo does not lie in its size or that mechanical strength, but in its temper. Hippos are extremely territorial. To them, rivers, lakes, and swamps are not just habitats but absolute property, a space that must not be trespassed. Any object that enters, such as small fishing boats, people swimming across the river, or simply someone taking the wrong path, can be seen by the hippo as a threat to be eliminated immediately. Especially dangerous are mother hippos nursing their young. In that state, the protective instinct is pushed to the extreme. They are ready to attack without warning, just lunging straight out of the water with incredible speed for a creature weighing tons. Every year, about 500 people die from such encounters in Africa because they accidentally step into the territory of a creature that does not tolerate trespassing. Hippos do not hunt humans, but once it lunges out of the water, it is one of the very few creatures on Earth that humans have almost no chance of escaping. The living tank, wild boar. Especially the giant individuals living in the Russian Far East, where there are wild boars that can weigh up to 400 kilograms, as large as a heavy motorcycle, with a low, thick, and solid body like a living block of steel. Wild boars are not the fastest runners in the forest, but they are very tenacious, and once they start charging, the concept of stopping almost ceases to exist. They possess sharp, long, outward-curving tusks, continuously sharpened during the process of digging up dirt and rocks, prying up tree roots, and colliding with the surrounding environment. Those are not weapons for intimidation, but tools ready to be used. A direct headbutt from a wild boar can break the femur of an adult human. A sideways slash with its tusks is enough to tear through muscle, causing severe blood loss in just seconds. But what makes the wild boar truly dangerous does not lie in that pure strength, but in its psychology. The wild boar is extremely omnivorous, extremely pragmatic, and has almost no concept of prolonged fear. They do not retreat out of panic. They only retreat when there is no longer a reason to continue. When agitated, cornered, injured, or protecting their young, the wild boar will attack continuously, without probing, without hesitation, until the target in front of it is no longer capable of resisting. And there is a detail that makes many people shudder when mentioning this animal. In the deep forest, if they encounter human corpses or the carcasses of other animals, wild boars can absolutely eat the flesh to supplement their nutrition, regardless of the source or shape. Wild boars do not hunt humans, but when humans fall in the forest, nature leaves nothing to waste, and the wild boar is simply a very straightforward part of that rule. The riverbed trap, freshwater stingray. Many people still believe that stingrays only exist in the sea, associated with white sand and salt water, but in reality, that is not the case. Freshwater stingrays live right in rivers, lakes, swamps, and inland water systems, places where people still bathe and fish every day. They live quietly, without sound or warning signs. Freshwater stingrays usually lie still under the layer of mud and sand, burying themselves almost completely for camouflage, revealing only their small eyes to observe the surrounding environment. Looking down from above, it is almost impossible to distinguish them from the riverbed, and a fatal mistake occurs when humans accidentally step on them. In that very moment, the long tail carrying a venomous barb as sharp as a dagger will whip up reflexively. It is not a deliberate attack, but a purely instinctive act of self-defense. But that stab is strong enough to pierce through the abdomen, through the chest, or plunge deep into the thigh with immense force. The barb is not only sharp, but also hard and pointed, designed to pierce flesh in a split second. In the worst-case scenarios, if the barb hits the heart or lungs, the victim can die in a very short time, even if rushed to the emergency room. The most terrifying thing about the freshwater stingray is not its venom, but this: you never know what you are standing on beneath the murky water, and the price to pay could be your life. The familiar threat. Dog. The dog is considered man's best friend, to the point that many people never thought it could appear on a list like this. Dogs inside the house, dogs in the yard, dogs on the street. They are usually associated with feelings of safety, loyalty, and familiarity. But according to global statistics, every year more than 59,000 people die in relation to dogs. Not because they are bitten to death on the spot, nor torn apart, but because of their rabies virus. Once rabies becomes symptomatic, the mortality rate is almost 100%. No cure or miracle, and no chance of turning back. Modern science is almost powerless at that stage. The most terrifying thing about rabies is that it doesn't kill you immediately. The virus silently invades the body through a bite, a scratch, or even through saliva coming into contact with an open wound. From there, it moves slowly along the central nervous system. This process can last for weeks, months, or even years. During that time, the victim feels completely normal, with no pain or clear signs, so there is no reason to worry. Until symptoms appear such as fear of water, seizures, neurological disorders, and loss of behavioral control. And when those signs begin, all medical efforts are already too late. The most dangerous thing does not come from the fierce stray dogs we often imagine, but from our own familiar complacency, such as not vaccinating properly or treating bites correctly and thinking that domestic dogs are fine. Dogs have no malice. They are just like mosquitoes and stingrays. But just one instance of negligence, a moment of underestimation, and the price to pay is still a human life. So, we have just gone over the 10 dangerous creatures you would never expect. Which animal on this list impressed or shocked you the most? Leave a comment below for me and everyone to know. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to drop a like and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next mysterious journeys of discovery. For now, goodbye, and see you in the next videos.